Hello and welcome to video 1 of the Strategy Module and Trading Signal Indicators videos. This is a video 1 of a two-part series of videos, and what I'm going to show you in this video is what each of the different inputs and selections are for the strategy module, which in turn allows you to plot different trading signals on the chart, and from there you can take that information, export it to a file, and then import it into a backtest engine that we provide, which will allow you to analyze your trading system. So let's go ahead and first show you where all this information is located. What we did for convenience sake is we combined the Fractal suite of indicators with this strategy module. So you'll find that all of the strategy related inputs are toward the bottom half of our familiar settings window, and this way you can easily differentiate between the two. What I'm going to do here is pull up the property settings window, scroll down, and show you where the strategy inputs start. Okay, once we get past plot fast forward trend, this is which is the last plot indicator that we have. We have the inputs and the various selections for creating the strategy. So the only thing that's going to be plotted from this point on, if we're using any of these other inputs here, is a trading signal. Now the trading signal will consist of a green arrow for a long entry, a yellow arrow which is pointing down for a short entry, and then also we have a white dot which is an exit, regardless of what type of exit. And from there we'll also see a dashed line connecting the entry arrow to the white exit arrow, and if the line is green, this means that the trade was profitable, and if the line is red, it means that the trade was not profitable. So you'll see that in video 2 because we're going to actually build a strategy. I'll show you how it's put together and how the signals are placed on the chart, and then we're going to export that information to the backtesting engine, but I'll save that for the next video. So here, let's just go ahead and go through the different inputs so you have an understanding of what they represent. This momentum trend trigger indicator, this is actually put here for future development, so at this point in time, don't worry about that. But the stop loss value in percentage and profit target value in percentage, these are used to define a profit target or stop value that's based on a percentage formula, and that percentage formula is actually provided in the documentation. But what triggers those stops are two different selections here. Turns the stop on or off, which is tied directly to that input, and also turns profit target on or off, which is again tied directly to the profit target value and percentage input. So we have the two inputs here, stop value and percentage, profit target value and percentage, tied to the two different checkboxes which turn the functionality on or off for these for this stop and profit target. Now going back here to the exit at mean, if you recall from the earlier videos that explain one of the methodologies for using the suite with a mean, calculated predicted mean, we went ahead and exited the mean after we entered the trade from the entry channel. So what this will do is that if you're in a trade, you get a trade signal, and the price reaches the predicted mean, it actually will exit the trade at that point. Now this also holds true for exit at the predicted close, which is again similar to what was described in the earlier videos using the actual indicators themselves. Use predictor flag is exactly the same as the type of methodology as was described with the predictor flag indicator. Remember when the yellow flag went up, then it suggested that the predicted close had been touched, so you don't want to enter the trade. Well, that's what this will do. So it acts as a filter for those different entry trades. The same holds true for the use mean flag. If you select this or both of these, then what it will do is it will not allow a trade to take place on the entry side if the mean flag is up, or in other words, the predicted mean has been touched in advance of the entry price being touched. So if either one of these happens first and then the price goes to the entry channel, there is no entry. Use arc flag. What this does is it allows you to activate the arc with two of the different entry strategies. I will explain why it only operates with two as we get to the entry strategies, and also go over it again in video number 2. The next selection here is exits trade after 1 bar. Now what this means is that, let's say you're in a trade, and as soon as you enter that trade you're thinking, well, I'd really like to get out of this trade if the market looks like it's going to move against me. So I entered the trade. I really wanted to get out at the predicted close. I'm looking for, to get in and out of this trade on the same bar. Well, what will happen if you select that is that if the forecast suggests that the predicted close on the next bar is going to be higher than what your entry value is at, then it will exit the trade on that bar. However, if the prediction tells us that the trade or the close is going to continue in the direction that you desire based on your entry, then it keeps you in that trade. So it's possible for, even if you have that exits trade after 1 bar checked, that you could still stay in a trade for multiple bars if the predictor tells us that the price is going to continue in the direction that favors the trade, which makes sense. So the next selection, they use auto stop. This is using the same information as we find up here in auto stop threshold. So remember the stop channel that you can plot, stop loss channel? Well, the stop loss channel is effectively being used for your strategy once you check this. And the number that's being used for that is based on the input value here. So here we have the default of 3 standard deviations. This is the number that's going to make that calculation. Anything that you change up here with the indicators that has some sort of a relationship to the various strategies, exits, or filters in the strategy side of the program will affect it. So you're going to be using the inputs from the suite, and you're also going to be using the inputs that are listed here, and then there are also 2 others that I'm going to show you soon. So now, turns the stop on or off. We went through that earlier. This is tied to again to the stop loss value and percentage. And then turns profit target on or off. This is again tied to profit target value and percentage. Okay, and then now we have these modes. Now what these modes are really the essence of the strategies. So what occurs here is that when you select a mode, it's defining what the general entry strategy is that's used. Those other various selections that we just went through are being used primarily as filters, as exits, and as risk control through the stop loss. Now, going through each one of these just to give you an idea of what it's doing. The use no mode is taking the entry channel that you saw plotted in previous videos, and it enters the trade based on where that channel is set. So this will actually be affected by going to the indicator side and changing the entry channel threshold. So if you change this to 2, imagine that you're changing the band on the chart and you're defining where that entry point is. This no mode is called no mode because it does not use the arc. It strictly uses the entry channel. So if you were to use no mode with the auto stop, it would be the same as if you were plotting the entry channel, plotting the stop channel, and just entering the trades on the entry channel and then assigning a stop as soon as you entered that trade. Use range mode exactly the same as no mode except for one key difference. It uses the arc and is affected by the arc inputs that are listed here at the top. So your points in arc observation, your observations for arc, and your momentum length. If you can remember, this is using actually the arc trend indicator. So it's looking at the market and it's using that information to determine whether the market is in a range or a trend. Now, because this mode is designed to act as a predictor reversion strategy, what it's going to do is only take trades when the arc suggests that the market is in a range mode. Now, it does not exit automatically unless the arc goes from range to trend, and then it does. So you can use this in conjunction with the other exits, or you can use it without anything, and just by manipulating the arc and the various inputs for the entry channel threshold, it will change the way that it trades. Now, moving on to use trend mode. This uses a combination of different approaches, but basically the way to think about it is that if you're getting a prediction that is in advance moving to a higher or lower level past the entry channel, then what it will do is it basically acts almost the opposite of the way the range mode works. So it will go into the trade and using the predictors and make the assessment that the market is going to go into, and either it's going to increase or it's going to decrease, so either long or short. But it does not use the arc automatically. So if you wanted to use the arc with the trend modes to only take trades when the arc is suggesting that the market is in a trend, because this is a trend style entry strategy, you would go up to use arc flag and click that. Then the trend mode will work with the arc. If you do not, then it only works with the predictor and the entry channel. Use fast forward mode. Fairly straightforward. It takes the inputs used for the fast forward indicator, which are going to be the prediction horizon. Well, actually, any of the entries are going to be affected by the predictor settings. But what it's doing is it's looking at where you set your prediction horizon, which predictor you're using. It's assessing what the value is of the indicator. So let's say 8, and it compares it to the plot no trade zone. So if we had plot no trade zone, say, set at 7, and the fast forward indicator crossed from 6 to 8, it now triggers a long trade in that direction. And last, as far as the inputs are concerned in the strategy module, are the start time and end time. This is really straightforward. What it does is it allows you to control when the trading signals are generated. Let's say you only wanted to make trades from, I don't know, let's say 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. So what we would do is go, say, 1400 hours. We'll set this to 600 hours, or 6 a.m. as the starting time, and then 1400 hours or 2 p.m. for the end time. Once this is in place, it affects when the signals are generated. So before we conclude with this video, let's just go ahead and put something up real quick. This is obviously nothing that's been tested, just so you can see how everything works. So I'll go ahead and enter, let's say, no mode, and we'll use the auto stop, and let's use a profit target, and we can use, we're not going to use the arc flag. Let's just go with that for right now. We'll keep this simple. Turn that off, and then click update, and we should see a variety of signals on the chart here any second once this is finished calculating. And there we go. So let's zoom in on that. Here, I'll move these other panels down that are used for the Fractal Suite indicators. So you can see you can use the indicators in combination also with the strategy indicators, or the strategy signals rather. So let's go down here and zoom in a little bit just so you can see what it looks like. We have no idea how this will perform, but we'll get into performance and strategy building in the next video. So you can see here we have a short entry and we hold the trade. This actually turns out to be a winning trade. We can tell by the green line, and we exit here. We have another trade, another short entry, but this time we get stopped out. Same with here. Here we have another short entry. It's profitable, and we exit here. So I think you get the idea, and the next video should fill in any of the blanks. Thank you for watching, and this concludes video 1.